That is better. Rising, you guys. My apologies, my apologies. I'm about 5 minutes late. My voice is, well, I'm 8 minutes late actually. Hold 1 second, you guys. I gotta get Instagram up as well. I woke up late, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Oh, hold on. Alrighty. We are in there like swimwear. Alright, let me push this back just a little so it can come down. Alright, what's good? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Crystal. Welcome to the Righteous Book Club. We are back at it again. Please excuse my voice. I have not had my tea yet. I actually went out last night, to celebrate somebody that I went to school's birthday, and you hear music, you get to yelling and singing your favorite song, and next thing you know, your voice is gone. All right, but we're back at it again. We are doing All About Love by Bell Hooks. For those of you who have the book, we are on page 42. Wait, no, we're not on 42. I'm tripping. Here we were. I was about to say, hold up. We were on page 10, okay? I was like, we ain't got that far yet, all right? We are still in the Clarity, Give Love Words chapter. I think, we're about to finish up chapter 1, so perfect, all right? So if you have your books, you can follow along. If not, you can listen, all right? So we're going to start on chapter 1, Clarity, Give Love Words, page 11, okay? So it says, let me turn this down just I love this song by Stephanie Mills. All right, so it says, so many of us long for love, but lack the courage to take risks. Even though we are obsessed with the idea of love, the truth is that most of us live relatively decent, somewhat satisfying lives, even if we often feel that love is lacking. In these relationships, we share genuine affection and or care. For most of us, that feels like enough because it's usually a lot more than we received in our families of origin. Undoubtedly, many of us are more comfortable with the notion that love can mean anything to anybody, precisely because when we define it with precision and clarity, it brings us face to face with our lacks, with terrible alienation. The truth is, far too many people in our culture do not know what love is. And this not knowing feels like a terrible secret, a lack that we have to cover up. Had I been given a clear definition of love earlier in my life, it would not have taken me so long to become a more loving person. Had I shared with others a common understanding of what it means to love, it would have been easier to create love. It is particularly distressing that so many recent books on love continue to insist that the definitions of love are unnecessary and meaningless. Or worse, the authors suggest love should mean something different to men than it does to women. That the sexes should respect and adapt to our inability to communicate since we do not share the same language. This type of literature is popular because it does not demand a change in fixed ways of thinking about gender roles, culture, or love. Rather than sharing strategies that would help us become more loving, it actually encourages everyone to adapt to circumstances where love is lacking. Women, more so than men, rush out to purchase this literature. We do so because collectively we are concerned about lovelessness. Since many women believe they will never know fulfilling love, they are willing to settle for strategies that help ease the pain and increase the peace, pleasure, and playfulness in existing relationships, particularly romantic ones. Wow. No vehicle in our culture exists for readers to talk back to the writers of this literature, and we do not really know if it has been truly useful, if it promotes constructive change. The fact that women, more than men, buy self-help books using our consumer dollars to keep specific books on bestseller lists is no indication that these books actually help us transform our lives. I have bought tons of self-help books. Only very few have really made a difference in my life. This is true for many readers. The lack of an ongoing public discussion and public policy about the practice of love in our culture and in our lives means that we still look to books as a primary source of guidance and direction, hence the book club. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. Is this connected? Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was connected to Wi-Fi here. All right, my bad, you guys. Where are we at? I'll finish right here. The lack of ongoing public discussion and public policy about the practice of love in our culture and in our lives means that we still look to books as a primary source of guidance and direction. Large numbers of readers embrace Peck's definition of love and are applying it to their lives in a way that are helpful and transformative. We can spread the word by evoking this definition in day-to-day conversations, not just when we talk to other adults, but in our conversations with children and teenagers. When we intervene our mystifying assumptions that love cannot be defined by offering workable, useful definitions, we are already creating a context where love can begin to flourish. Let me say that again. Oh, when we intervene, okay. Some folks have difficulty with Peck's definition of love because he uses the word spiritual. He is referring to that dimension of our core reality where mind, body, and spirit are one. An individual does not need to be a believer in a religion to embrace the idea that there is an animating principle in the self, a life force, some of us call it soul, that when nurtured enhances our capacity to be more fully self-actualized and able to engage in communion with the world around us. I like that. I actually highlighted that. It says, an individual does not need to be a believer in a religion to embrace the idea that there is an animating principle in the self, a life force, some of us call soul, that when nurtured enhances our capacity to be fully self-actualized and able to engage in communion with the world around us. To begin by always thinking of love as an action rather than a feeling is one way in which anyone using the word in this manner automatically assumes accountability and responsibility. We are often taught we have no control over our feelings, yet most of us accept that we choose our actions, that intention, and will inform what we do. We also accept that our actions have consequences. To think of actions shaping feelings is one way we rid ourselves of conventionally accepted assumptions such as that parents love their children, or that one simply falls in love without exercising will or choice, that there are such things as crimes of passion, i.e., he killed her because he loved her so much. If we were constantly remembering that love is as love does, we would not use the word in a manner that devalues and degrades its meaning. When we are loving, we openly and honestly express care, affection, responsibility, respect, commitment, and trust. Definitions are vital starting points for the imagination. What we cannot imagine cannot come into being. A good definition marks our starting point and lets us know where we want to end up. As we move toward our desired destination, we chart the journey, creating a map. We need a map to guide us on our journey to love, starting with the place where we know what we mean when we speak of love. Chapter 1. So clarity is basically, for what I'm getting from All About Love, is it says give love words, give love a definition. There was a good definition, Edward Peck's, whatever that, I forgot the name of that book, but the definition of love that I'll tell you guys. Oh yeah, so love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. I think that's a beautiful definition to start with. Oh my gosh, all right. But so chapter 1 was about defining love, giving it a definition. We're now into chapter 2, okay? We're moving right along. This is going to be starting at page 18. And chapter 2 is about justice, childhood love lessons. Whew. Because I know there is a lot of us who still battle childhood traumas, okay? So here we go. Rising, see you guys on Instagram. We're in chapter 2 of All About Love. So justice, childhood love lessons, starts with a quote from Judith Viorst. It says, severe separations in early life leave emotional scars on the brain because they assault the essential human connection. The parent-child bond, which teaches us that we are lovable, the parent-child bond, which teaches us how to love. We cannot be whole human beings. Indeed, we may find it hard to be human without the sustenance of this first attachment. Oh, man. All right, chapter 2. We learn about love in childhood. Whether our homes are happy or troubled, our families functional or dysfunctional, it's the original school of love. I cannot remember ever wanting to ask my parents to define love. I don't think I ever asked my parents to define love. Interesting. I cannot remember ever wanting to ask my parents to define love. To my child's mind, love was the good feeling you got when family treated you like you mattered and you treated them like they mattered. Love was always and only about good feelings. In early adolescence, when we were whipped and told that these punishments were for our own good, or I'm doing this because I love you, my siblings and I were confused. Me too, shucks. Even me having a child. Okay, pause. And I know some people may not agree, but spankings are my last resort. Simply because I find it difficult to, and this is just me, I find it difficult to use physical connection, physical interaction to discipline. It really gives me the whole mindset of the slave mentality and the slave owner. I often feel like that's where the people of color have gotten that concept, at least here in the United States. I mean, I don't know in other countries, I ain't never been there. But when I was younger, I didn't understand how you could say, this hurts me more than it hurts you, or I love you, that's why I'm doing it. Because even when I whooped my child probably twice now since he's been around, and it did something to me, okay? And I didn't feel like this is a good way to discipline him because he just looks scared, like, and it looks like I'm physically hurting him. Like, that's just me. I ain't telling y'all what y'all need to do. We just talk about the book, okay? I'm doing this because I love you. My siblings and I were confused. Why was harsh punishment a gesture of love? As children do, we pretend to accept this grown-up logic, but we knew in our hearts it was not right. We knew it was a lie. Okay, at least the author's saying it. Just like the lie the grown-ups told when they explained after harsh punishment, it hurts me more than it hurts you. I don't know if that's a lie though, because when I did give my son a whooping, I cried afterwards. Like, his face, it was his face for me that messed me up. Like, it hurt me. I felt like it hurt me. Now, physically, it probably didn't hurt me. Emotionally, it hurt me. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll not see. Anyways, there is nothing that creates more confusion about love in the minds and hearts of children than unkind and or cruel punishment meted out by the grown-ups they have been taught they should love and respect. Wow. Such children learn early on to question the meaning of love, to yearn for love even as they doubt it exists. On the flip side, there are masses of children who grow up confident love is a good feeling, who are never punished, who are allowed to believe that love is only about getting your needs met, your desires satisfied. In their children's mind, love is not about what they have to give. Love is mostly something given to them. When children like these are overindulged, either materially or by being allowed to act out, this is a form of neglect. These children, though not in any way abused or uncared for, are usually as unclear about love's meaning as their neglected and emotionally abandoned counterparts. Wow. Both groups have learned to think about love primarily in relation to good feelings, in the context of reward and punishment. For early childhood on, most of us remember being told we were loved when we did things pleasing to our parents. And we learned to give them affirmations of love when they pleased us. As children grow, they associate love more with actions of attention, affection, and caring. They still see parents who attempt to satisfy their desires as giving love. Children from all classes tell me that they love their parents and are loved by them, even those who are being hurt or abused. When asked to define love, small children pretty much agree that it's a good feeling. Like when you have something to eat that you really like, especially if it's your favorite, they will say, "My mommy loves me because she takes care of me and helps me do everything right." When asked how to love someone, they talk about giving hugs and kisses, being sweet and cuddly. The notion that love is about getting what one wants, whether it's a hug or a new sweater or a trip to Disneyland, is a way of thinking about love. That makes it difficult for children to acquire a deeper emotional understanding. Wow. We like to imagine that most children will be born into homes where they will be loved. But love will not be present if the grown-up whose parent did. But love will not be present if the grown-ups who parent do not know how to love. Although lots of children are raised in homes where they are given some degree of care, love may not be sustained or even present. Adults cross lines of class, race, and gender indict the family. Their testimony convoys worlds of childhood where love was lacking, where chaos, neglect, abuse, and coercion reigned supreme. In her recent book, Raised in Captivity, Why Does America Fail Its Children?, Lucia Hodgson documents that reality of lovelessness in the lives of a huge majority of children in the United States. Every day, thousands of children in our culture are verbally and physically abused, starved, tortured, and murdered. They are the true victims of intimate terrorism, and that they have no collective voice and no rights. They remain the property of parenting adults to do with as they will. There can be no love without justice. Until we live in a culture that does not only respect but also uphold basic civil rights for children, most children will not know love. In our culture, the private family dwelling is the one institutionalized sphere of power that can easily be acrotic and fascistic. As absolute rulers, parents can usually decide without any intervention what is best for their children. If children's rights are taken away in any domestic household, they have no legal recourse. Unlike women who can organize to protest sexist domination, demanding both equal rights and justice, children can only rely on well-meaning adults to assist them if they are being exploited and oppressed in the home. We all know that, irrespective of class or race, other adults rarely intervene to question or challenge what their what their peers are doing with their children. At a fun party, mostly of educated, well-paid professionals, a multiracial, multi-generational evening, the subject of disciplining kids by hitting was raised. Almost all the guests over 30 spoke about the necessity of using physical punishment. Many of us in the room had been smacked, whipped, or beaten as children. Men spoke the loudest in defense of physical punishment. Women, mostly mothers, talked about hitting as the last resort, but one that they deployed when necessary. Yikes, is she talking to me? Because I literally just said that. As one man bragged about the aggressive beatings he had received from his mother, sharing that they had been good for him, I interrupted and suggested that he might not be the misogynist women hater he is today if he had not been brutally beaten by a woman as a child. Yikes. Okay. Although it is too simplistic to assume that just because we are hit as kids, we will grow up to be people who hit, I wanted the group to acknowledge that being physically hurt or abused by grown-ups when we were children I wanted the group to acknowledge that being physically hurt or abused by grown-ups when we are children has harmful consequences in our adult life. A young professional, the mother of a small boy, bragged about the fact that she did not hit, that when her son misbehaved, she clamped down on his flesh, pinching him until he got the message. Wow. But this too is a form of coercive abuse. The other guests supported this young mother and her husband in their methods. I was astounded. I was the lone voice speaking out for the rights of children. Later, with other people, I suggested that had we all been listening to a man, tell us that every time his wife or girlfriend does something he does not like, he just clamps down on her flesh, pinching her as hard as he can, everyone would have been appalled. Oh, I see what she's saying. They would have seen the action as both coercive and abusive. Yet they could not acknowledge that it was wrong for an adult to hurt a child in the same manner. All the parents in that room claimed that they are loving. All the people in that room were college educated. Most called themselves good liberals, supportive of civil rights and feminism. But when it came to the rights of children, they had a different standard. All right, so we are going to stop there. Wow, okay. Justice, Childhood Love Lessons, Chapter 2. I told y'all it's been a minute since I read this book, so I'm even, messages are coming to me about, being a mother, being a product of a child who was in fact whooped as, in my adolescence, and being very guilty of saying, I always say that in conversation with people that, we had to get whooped. Look at how we came out, but look how we came out. We kind of do live in what most would call a lovelessness society right now, where it's more about material gain and sex and popularity than it is about love. Wow. And I'm even seeing here about childhood lessons, this justice for children, because of how it can impact us as adults. I mean, wow. So let me know what you guys thought as we begin this journey of justice, childhood love lessons, chapter 2, all about love. That was pretty deep for me. I would love to hear how it resonated with you guys. Let me know how you are starting to like the book. We're in chapter 2. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening on, and I'll see you next Monday. All right. I love you guys. Be easy. Peace out. Man, that one did a number for me. I forgot all about chapter 2.